Rolling.
Well, we got to apologize first of all because the best stuff always happens off the record.
Oh,
and
yeah.
We've been having great conversations since I arrived last night, and all that's been lost to the wind. And what you're going to get now is just the afterbirth of all that. And we're just going to have to deal with it.
Look, man. Yeah, I cherish our time together because it's rare. It's not enough. It never feels like enough, right? When it's good.
It's because you're not present. If you're present, it's always enough.
It's plenty.
You're just getting ahead of yourself, and you're getting behind, and you're thinking about it, and you miss it that way. You know?
Yeah.
I'm the same way. I'm not pointing fingers.
Yeah.
I'm the same way. Nobody's ever present. Now is all we don't have.
Yeah. And I notice it really is when people Shazamming all the songs I'm playing. I'm like, oh, you want to grab scraps of this magical moment? You think you're going to be able to get away with that? Get the hell. It's never going to hit the same. Don't even bother with your Shazam. It's never going to sound this good again.
You're so in the song, you're going to pull yourself out of it to see what it's called. Yeah. That's what Osho used to say about God. He said, people that live God don't ever talk about it.
Ooh.
Every time that guy talks, he ends it with a s. Even if there's not a word that ends in an S, it always ends with
That's my favorite Osho quote. She's a bitch.
Well, he can't say the sh sound, even though his name is Osho. It's always, he's like, I put my sauce in the sours. I think that hiss at the end, that's his ego deflating. You know?
That's good.
We put our sauce in the sour. Otherwise, she becomes a bit.
It's like his form of torping and soplar. You ever get into that stuff?
Those sound like Rashad words.
They kind of are. They're made up by the.
Soplar, chicken and jerk.
They're made up by this Australian madman, the guy that invented changa, like the very easily smokable form of DMT.
Changa.
That's kind of what you kind of just tapped into, torping and soplar.
Oh, right.
It's like you hear people in ayahuasca doing it. I've taken it on. I didn't even know what it was.
Oh, that's what that describes?
Yeah, it's like getting rid of all the whatever in your auric field. It's just kind of saying like, get the fuck out of here, but also kind of making friends with it. Torping and soplar.
You're sucking it in.
Well, yeah, first you gotta suck it in before you can blow it out.
Yeah, you do.
Actually, that's how you say that you're the final boss.
You said torpin and soplar?
Yeah.
So torpin, this is torpin, take it in it.
Yeah.
And then you soplar.
Yep. The ripping and the tearing.
The ripping and the tearing.
We're here with one of your paintings. Does this painting have a name?
Yes, on the back.
No, that's just, it's a divined design.
Oh.
Divined designs are what I call, hold on, let me drop into myself for a moment here.
Forget being those
You don't
other
have
people.
I can't talk about the painting in a draw. That doesn't make sense. So a divined design is what I call these paintings that basically emerge from the priming. It starts off with, the application of color, and then I find the forms in the pareidolia, and I divine the designs inside of it. So it's a divined design, but it had a working title, I guess, which I would refer to it as Strung Along, just because it has strings and things. But I didn't write the title on there because I don't think it's a definitive title. I don't like the implications of being strung along,
Yeah.
I don't like, there's some, because it has a negative implication, being strung along, So
Nobody likes that.
no, and I don't feel like that. I think that the title kind of shrinks the potential of everything that's in there down. So I've left it untitled. Now that it's yours, you gotta learn your own title.
Yeah. We've acquired this one.
Right now, it's called string theory to me.
I like that. Yeah.
That's pretty
There
good.
I like that.
Yeah, that doesn't carry a negative connotation as much. Strung along is what I think of, like, when I think of somebody that gets fired from their corporate job after 55 years of service, never missed a day, and then it's like, oh, you're about to get your pension? Bye-bye. It's like, damn, I just get strung
time I got strung along.
Yeah.
I think of want girls stringing you along.
Yeah, that's the thing I was thinking about.
Ooh.
Oh, they just got strung along. It's like the carrot on the string, but you never get to take a bite
They
of the
want your
carrot.
attention. They want the validation, but they don't want to. They just want to know that they got you on a string.
Right.
It's more powerful coming from Cass than us saying this.
Yeah, we're going to keep it on the corporate level.
Yeah.
Our strings corporate.
No, I'll admit to it.
You'll admit to it. You haven't done a lot of stringing along. You're not that kind of girl at all.
I'm not that kind of girl.
You work the yarn. You work the embroideries. That's
yes,
your kind of string.
Yeah, totally.
I don't like to give people the wrong idea.
What did you say? You said fooling and spooling.
Yo, yeah,
I like that.
fooling and unspooling.
Fooling and unspooling. I like that.
Yeah, that's all these guys are up to.
Yeah, this guy was the first one to show up in there.
Oh.
And he feels very much like the spark of childlike wonder, the playful imp. And then the fact that he's kind of puppeteering this little guy, but he's holding on to his own strings, you see. It's not like the puppet has the strings attached to it, but there's like he's actually, I'm just noticing this now, that he's holding on to the strings. So he's maybe pulling the puppet strings too, so the puppet is puppeteering the puppeteer.
Ooh.
And then this guy, he's got his own little set, but he doesn't really know what to do with it. He's just kind of like taffying it. And then he's definitely like connected the dots in his little rust up headpiece there.
The real question is, who's in charge here?
Yeah. Who's running this shit?
That's the main thing I ask myself when I approach one of your paintings. We ask each other.
Yeah.
We roll up and I'm like, who's in charge here? And she's like, I know. And I'm like, I think I do too.
We go into a long debate.
And then we go into a long debate.
We convince each other.
And I've never laughed so hard in my life than when Cass and I are a little drugged out looking at some of your paintings for a long, look slowly, I think you were saying.
Yeah, somebody said that to me. I had like a whole book of these kinds of pieces, and my friend's boyfriend was really getting into them. And then he's this like very grounded, like deep voiced, like slow moving, like take your time kind of guy. And his brother showed up and he started just leafing through it, and he put his hands on there and he goes, look slowly. And that's one that I've like picked up. I'm like, that's one of the instructions. And the other thing, like when I look at it with my friend Josue, we'll always look for the central dreamer, which is just another way of saying what you guys are saying, like, who's in charge here. Which I really like that because it brings to mind Johnny Hamcheck. Like, who's running this shit?
It's Balboni.
Who's running this shit? So I think at some point I want to do a show of a bunch of these things and call it that, like who's in charge here.
Oh, that's great.
Because, you go to a museum, you go to an art show, and people, they look at the pieces, they nod at them, and then they move on to the next one, and that's that, and then they talk to each other, usually not about the art, maybe sometimes. I mean, I don't want to be like generalizing, but
yeah.
I think with these pieces, there is such interactive potential in there and conversational potential, figuring out what's going on, and why I hate is making a special appearance on the show. This is why I hate social media, tiny little screens, and having to like pinch to get into a detail. And even then, if I take like pictures of details, they're like their own separate things. Like the fun is like getting to know the locals.
Yes.
And then when you discover another one, it changes the whole field, because now like the relationship between this one and that one has changed because this one's showing up, and it becomes really like this dynamic thing that involves Larry. Like the Larry we know, or just
DJ Preschool. Making an appearance, just dropping tunes from the background.
We were joking yesterday that he's kind of like, he's doing like some like hair regrowth protocol treatment, but it kind of went wrong, and now his whiskers are coming in from strange angles of his face. My mustache is coming in through my cheekbone.
Yeah, no, there is real no substitute for like looking at art in person. You really just can't get it from your phone. I felt like the film club movie we did the other night, Dreams.
Yeah.
Kurosawa,
1990.
Kira Kurosawa.
Yes, thank you.
Kira Kurosawa.
And
Dreams.
He's traversing a Van Gogh painting, and I was like, now this is how I want to view digital art.
Yeah.
As like a little person, and I think that's what
VR.
VR will allow for, hopefully.
Oh yeah, totally. It's come a long way, baby. I'll tell you that. We've done VR once, and it was to play like this game, but it felt very like what do they call low poly? Like it wasn't there yet. It was just like like the world wasn't rendered out yet. I could see how cool it could be, and then at Psychedelic Science, this guy put a VR headset on me, headphones, and he has an app called Brain Candy that is DMT. He nailed it. He got it. He completely. Oh, I thought I told you about this, dude. It was in the middle of.
You saved it for now.
Oh man, we were in the middle of this crazy party, and I was like, at this point in the night, I was like, well, we made it over that 20-minute hump where we wanted to leave, and so did a group of our friends, and we've been here for hours, and this might be the most lit party I've ever been to. Do a little bump. And then this guy's like, hey, did you just do ketamine? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, oh, perfect. Do you want to do this experience? I said, sure. Throws on VR, throws on the headphones, puts these two controls in my hand. And I'm like, well, what do I do? And he's like, you'll figure it out. And you kind of just navigate around. And then all of a sudden, boom, you're in the DMT realm. But you can control it. You can say, I don't really like that one. Move a little more of that. Bring that closer. Push that away. Slide this over. The sounds. I mean, if you have VR, download Brain Candy. It is the most unbelievable experience. I felt like I smoked DMT. It literally mimicked it so well that I came out of it to Cass punching me in the balls, which was hilarious because I was fully immersed in there, and she's such a twisted joker. She knew I was like
I did
the
not
guy
punch
at the party.
You in the balls.
You gave me a little nut tap, and it was such a. I like ripped the thing off. And I'm like, oh my god, I forgot I'm at a party. Like this.
Well,
is crazy.
he's so easily scared that I try not to take advantage of it, but
every now and then you have to.
Yeah.
It is funny. I do recognize how funny it is, how scared I am. I do. I understand that, but yeah. Oh my god,
I'd like to check that out.
You would fucking. I mean, it's addictive. You're like, why would I ever come out of here? It's like healing, cathartic, just calm, and you can control things. And that's the thing about DMT. You don't really know what you're getting involved with. You don't know if you're going into this or a mandala or entity encounters. But this, like, you can control it. It's really, and he gamifies it. Like, there's little lasers you could kind of like shoot out, and like it's just like. Just fun, good time. And he's like, it pairs really well with what you're on right now. That's why I wanted to throw you on there. He's like, it's for microdoses. And oh my God.
There was this Oculus thing called Cosmic Ayahuasca, Cosmic with a K. I never got to do it, but it's by Jan Koonen, who is the filmmaker who made the movie Renegade. That's also known as Blueberry, which is based on a Mobius graphic novel. And this guy has, you've probably seen like a clip of the ayahuasca visuals in that movie that are some of like the best. Oh, he also did a documentary called Other Worlds, which is about ayahuasca. That has like, Alex Gray's in it and Jeremy Narby and all these heads. But he also in there, he has these like effects that he rendered out that are just so good. So I'm really curious about his VR experience of that ayahuasca realm.
I thought Blueberry was directed by One Car Y, but maybe I'm
Probably
thinking of something
maybe
else.
multiple blueberries.
This one's like a psychedelic western. It's got Michael Madsen, who just passed away.
R.I.P. Yeah. I didn't realize Virginia Madsen was his sister till he died.
Yeah, dude.
Did you know that?
She wrote a beautiful...
I know.
Did you read that?
Yeah. She's like, I'll miss my brother.
I did know that. I think both of them are pretty awesome. And I really, really appreciated both of them from her, what do you call that? Eulogy.
Yeah, basically saying like, I knew the guy before he was the legend, and I like how she was like just talking about like how he was a real firecracker through life, like an intense guy.
Yeah.
But there was this soft, sweet side to him.
She said something like a rebel, a poet in the disguise of a rebel, or something like that.
Have you ever given a eulogy?
I once had a couple of friends who have the same birthday. So my one friend, Quincy, she would always come to me because she'd have like some wild idea and she wanted to involve me with it. This was while I was living in the Convent Artist Collective in San Francisco. So we had this beautiful chapel space at the heart of the home. And one time she came to me and she said, like all my life I felt so anxious about like marriage and this like thing. Like I just want to get that out of the way. So will you like facilitate like a fake marriage? Like me and Arthur are going to get married or something. And then like we did that. It was cool. And then another time she came to me and she's like, hey, my birthday's coming up and also Michaela's birthday. would you facilitate our funeral? Like we want to do a funeral for our birthday so people can like speak eulogies and things like that.
Great
I was
idea.
like, cool, yeah. So the two of them are laying there in the chapel as if they are in caskets. And then I get up there and I did a little speech, a little eulogy for the both of them. And then we got different people stepping up to like, talk. It was like very psychomagical moment. So I think that one. And then a guy that I met for the first time at that event, actually. It's cool how this is threading in. This guy, Sean McCabe, who was brilliant and problematic guy who I worked with on a bunch of different immersive theatrical experiences. And the first time I met, I'd heard about him, but he had never heard about me. And the first time he saw me was when I was in character doing this funeral procession. And he kept trying to heckle me from the crowd. Like he would like throw things. And before they would hit me, I'd already like crumpled them up and thrown them back at him. And this guy loved eating shit. So he was just loving that. And then we ended up doing a few things together. And then during the pandemic, he passed away.
Oh.
I think, I mean, forgive me if I'm distorting this, but I think it was boofing ketamine that I think was like fentanyl laced or something. I'm not entirely sure what.
What a way to go.
And it was like right at the time when he had his first album that was almost ready that he was putting out, which I've actually wanted to let you hear. The guy from Whisker Man, Graham Patzner, produced it and finished it after his death. But so when he passed away, I had a lot of, I think a lot of people had a lot of complicated feelings about it and about him. So I did write kind of like a eulogy based on like all the experiences that I'd had with him, and very honestly also like all the difficulties with him as a performer and as a person, but also like all the like the brilliance that was obviously there, and the talent and the good times and the moments when I could see his kind of his diva shell crack, and we had like real moments.
It's such a beautiful thing.
Yeah, but it's like everybody becomes finite, you know? Like we're infinite right now, but the moment that it ends, it's like the story is
Yeah, it's
finite.
heavy.
Yeah.
It's heavy. I did it once. I did it for my sister. It's weird because she passed away, and everything happened so fast. It's like, the day she passes away, it's like we better go to a funeral home and start making arrangements, and then one thing leads to another where it's like, oh, the wake's going to be, tomorrow and the next day, and then the funeral's going to be the next day. So I'm like, I don't see anyone else really stepping up. I'm going to write something. And I wrote a beautiful, 2-page thing. And I was like, all right, it's going to take a lot, but I'm going to read this at the funeral. And it's going to take a lot. No one else in my family could do this. And I got it down on paper in a way that I was really proud of. I was like, if I can get up there and say these words, it will really honor her spirit. And I when we got to the funeral, I put the papers up there where I would be speaking from, and the priest just read my thing. Didn't even say I wrote it or anything. Just kind of read it like it was an assignment. And he had such a thick he was from Africa or something, because they can't find priests.
So
they can't find American priests, really. So it's like this guy, you could barely understand anything he's saying, and then all of a sudden he's reading my words about my sisters, but not attributing it to me, and it was so weird. But it made me have to come from the heart and rise to the occasion and get up there and say something. And probably what I said was much more sad than what I had on paper, because I was sad.
Yeah.
But
did you put on an African accent?
I did. I tried to. I was like, "Is this what we're doing?
Is this how it goes? Is this how people do it?"
It was good. I think I heard a lot of people start crying when I did my thing. So I was like, "That's effective." And I've given a couple best man speeches that went over really well. And I'm like, I'm a good public speaker. I just hate doing it.
Really?
I hate it. I really
You
don't
rise to
like
the
it.
occasion, though. I crumble. I literally crumble.
This one is so...
I
it's
get-
adorable, though. At least you have that, You're like, oh...
It's a scare. And they say that there's something maybe in our DNA or our ancestry that you're just like, being in public is like attached to shame or public humiliation or being hung at the whatever. So I don't know. They have some theories about why we're scared to talk in public, but it is...
You know what really helps me when it's these things is like, I just say what I would hopefully want somebody to say about me in a way. Like, like let me bring out their best qualities. Like, let me speak to why I love this person so much and what they've done for me, and like just basically what I'd want in return from somebody. It's really easy to come from the heart then, because both best man speeches, I had some things written out and I just threw them away right before I went out there. I said, what the fuck am I doing? This is my family. I'll go talk to them. I'll talk about grandma. I'll say how awesome she was and how she brought me and my cousin together. And we were dorks who were over there playing N64 when we were like 16 years old, and we probably should have been pursuing chicks, and like, just just being a natural storyteller as opposed to trying to read something that I had come up with before. I'm not a good prepared remarks guy at all.
I mean, I used to, if I would do like storytelling events, like when I did 2014, I did the ayahuasca monologues, which I'm still very proud of that piece. But it was like I wrote the whole thing and memorized the whole thing and got up there and like performed it as though I didn't write and memorize it, But now I'm so much more comfortable just winging it. Like there are certain like pre-constructed phrases and things like that, but I'm very just comfortable getting up there and making it up and vibing in with the crowd. I think it's also my father is always a good public speaker. He was great with eulogies. Like when his father passed away, and also I think when his mother passed away, he had like there's actually printouts of these speeches, but like really thoughtful, tearjerker kind of stuff. And then my sister, who I just showed you like a little bit of the theater performance, she's like a great public speaker and also like very good at swinging it. And then this couple weeks ago I was in Amsterdam and I was doing this theater show, and it opens up. So just a little context. So my sister, she's 12 years older. She just turned 55, and on her birthday she figured this out like 2 years ago. She wanted to do a theater show to get out of her comfort zone and do a theater show that kind of is like a ritual that rings in her pseudo-retirement, where she can just focus on things she wants to do and move from kind of like the masculine side of the doing and achieving to this more like feminine being, embodying, and creative endeavors.
Wow.
So she had asked me already 2 years ago. She's like, I want to do this thing. Will you help me? Will you like be my co-star in this? And I was like, sure, yeah, I'll do that for you.
Fucking awesome.
And so like that just came to fruition. And it starts off where, everybody's sitting in the theater with like 500 people in the Amsterdam theater. And there's like a little film that plays for like a minute that shows like all her achievements. Like when the euro came into play and all these people had like French francs, Deutschmarks, Dutch guilders left over that were going to go obsolete, she set up a nationwide, the nation being the Netherlands, nationwide collection effort called Coins for Care that went to charities. So $16 million she raised that went to charities. And then she ended up working in like the charity world and saw all this ego and had to like, try to fight those windmills, but then realized that it was kind of futile. And then she ended up on the Dutch version of Survivor, and she got knighted in the Dutch order for the Coins for Care thing. And she had a very interesting life, And so it starts off with just like some like recaps of all these things, like 16 million euros raised, 30 books published, all these numbered things. And then the show is called No Excuses. So then it's like 0 excuses. And then it just like goes black. And we're waiting for the show to start, and it's just like this uncomfortable silence where everybody's kind of like, what's happening? And then there's a bing. And then I get up and I'm like, hey everybody, can I get a microphone? And somebody gives me a microphone. Hi, I'm Esther's brother, Michael, and I'm doing this in Dutch, which is like also me stepping out of my comfort zone.
Can you say that? Hey, I'm Esther's brother in Dutch.
Hallo allemaal, ik ben Esther's broer, Michael. Ik ben op bezoek uit Amerika. En ik krijg net een berichtje van Esther. So, that sort of thing.
You really do speak that language.
Yeah, it's so weird. It's so weird to me. But so then I do this thing where it's like I just got this text from Esther. She's going to be late. So let me like try to bridge a little bit of time. I was like, there's a video call coming in. Can we get Technique? Can you guys like, plug this in so we can get it on there? In the meantime, I'll bridge some time. And I start just telling a story of like a moment when her like no excuses attitude came out in our life. When I was, I don't know, like 9 or 10, I was really into movies, like, a lot of violent movies. So I was really into guns. Like, I knew all these guns names, like, the Walter PPK that James Bond has, or like things that I picked up from movies. And so we were walking in Utrecht, the Dutch city, and we're going past like a police station, and I think I said something like, "Oh, I wonder if they have like lots of confiscated weapons." And then my sister said, "Oh, we should ask if we can see." And I'm kind of like incredulous to this. It's like, "No, you don't do that." She's like, "No, why not? What do we got to lose? Like, we have no, you can get yes, maybe." So we went in there and we're like, "Hey, can we see like the confiscated weapons depot?" And the cop is like, she's like, yeah, sure, I guess. Why not? And they showed us this confiscated weapon chamber. Like, literally, it's such a surreal memory. Just this room full of fake guns, real guns, nunchucks, switchblades, butterfly knives. Like, and this is like not a metropolis city, but still,
that's probably why you got access.
Yeah, exactly. It was like a little room, like a little like broom closet, but like filled with weapons. It was such a crazy memory. So I told that story, and then the show got to start.
Wow. Yeah, and you were showing us, even though it's completely in Dutch.
Yeah.
But it hits. It's so cool.
Yeah. I got to play like 7 characters or something throughout it.
Wow.
Including a bit in drag. But, it was a little triumph for me, because when I go back to the Netherlands and I have to speak in Dutch and I have to interface with family and people that knew me, when I was a lot younger and less me in my mind. I was still me, but I kind of clip my creative wings a little bit. I feel myself getting smaller and just like, I'm very modest.
Yeah.
Which actually after the show, because during the show I get to like be all these characters and I get to kind of like, let loose. And then afterwards, like, I got a lot of praise, including like people that I was staying with. They're like, "Oh wow, we had no idea, like so modest," and like which is funny, because it's I'm a pretty outgoing person, but I just, in the Dutch language, it kind of exhausts me, and it brings me back to this like before I came to America phase, like the high school kid, like before I like really found myself, and all my achievements or non-achievements in the world feel very apparent to me.
I relate with this.
It's kind of like the idea of like you go to like a high school reunion and then you're like, "Oh, everybody's done all these things." It's like, I've done a lot of things, but it, like on paper, it doesn't look very good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I don't have a lot of laurel leaves on the things that I've done, but like But like we can step into the screening room and I can show you a bunch of things and you can be like, "Oh wow, that's you." Like I remember when you were like, "Oh, you're like an accomplished music video director." And it's like, I guess that's.
Absolutely. Like I implore people to go and look in your music video. What's a way to do that?
Just the ungoogleable.com and then go to the film portal, and there's like short films and music videos. And
I really thought we were crossing the Rubicon where I was going to have to fake some enthusiasm towards my dear friend, because I've been in awe of everything that you've said or done or showed us. But then I was like, oh, now we're going into my world a little bit. Yeah. And then I'm like, oh, you're better at this than me. And I'm like, these videos are woefully underseen.
Well, that's what I don't like.
And I'm like, hey, look at this stupid thing I did. And you're like, this thing has 1 million views. I'm like, yeah, I don't know. That's weird.
But it's the like I never identified as like music video director. Like I always think just like filmmaker, because that's how I think of it. Yeah. Because even like when I think music video, I'm thinking of exactly the thing you're thinking of, like, this could be bad. You know? Like this could be just like a bunch of stuff cut together or whatever. But like the way I'd make music videos, like aside from those like long takes, they're usually like they're narratives. They're little movies. They just happen to be set to music. Yeah. Which is really just a way for me to not have to have like a sound person and all that to make a movie, you know what I mean? Totally. And to serve somebody else's sound, or sometimes my own sound.
I also think it's like best training ground you could possibly have for like the new dimensions you're stepping into as a writer and a filmmaker and a director is doing music videos, because they're really hard. They're much harder than I think shooting a scene. Yeah. Like, like you're trying to, you got to capture a vibe. You really have
timing,
to.
And timing.
The timing. And
so much happens in the editing room too, I think, of like, like the San Pedro video, like I had a very clear, I wouldn't even say vision, but a very clear vibe with like certain markers that I wanted to hit, and then went out, gathered all the footage, and then it was like a road trip where I would like stay with different people during the pandemic for short periods of time, and in that time I could work on like editing and figuring out the software and learning to animate and things like that, and figuring out like, okay, how can I tell the story that I wanted to tell through the footage that I have, and then reinventing it with the limitations of the music, the structure, the beats, because I didn't shoot it to the music. I was like, I want to do it for this song.
Oh, interesting.
But I'm going to shoot it as if I'm just shooting a film, and then I'm going to try and edit it to the sound.
So you didn't have playback on set?
No.
Oh, that's cool.
It was literally just like out in the desert. Got a smoke machine. I got some lighting rigs. I got my equipment and costuming and my actors, and we just like went.
Well, it gave me supreme confidence to not only collaborate with you, but just support whatever it is you have going forward. Because I think right now you're working on writing something that is like a universe. And you gave us a taste of it last night, and we're talking about shooting it here. And it's weird to have a location as a muse.
But it's the best in a way. I think of like David Lynch, because he had a book called Room to Dream, and that title comes from him. Well, at least I heard it echoed later in an interview where he's talking about, it's like, why do we only have 2 days in this location? I want some time to dream into this space. I want some room to dream into it. And I love the idea of, because I mean, so much of my work, directly or indirectly, is about the genius loci, the resident spirit of a location. And so having like the first time I came here, I was like, this is a freaking location, guys. And then when you guys were like, oh, we got the place to ourselves in August, I was like, let's shoot something.
Yeah.
And so I started writing it, because immediately I was like dreaming into the space. And every time I've been back, I'm like, dream into it more.
Yeah.
Because it makes sense to have a location as a muse. Why not?
Yeah.
Like working with the resource of place and what is at hand.
Yeah. I don't know what my muse is. I'm very obviously I'm fascinated by well, it's Cass. I know that, and I've spoken to that at length.
We don't know what she is. What are you?
But like, was I making Oxiana to impress Cass? Like, that feels trivial.
Definitely.
Yeah, probably. But we had already made American Juggalo together. It's like it was like, that was a hard one to top in terms of like, look how cool I am. Like, come on, look what I made, Cass. Like, look what we did. Yeah, that was a hard one to top. So yeah, it's just interesting to work with other artists and just coming from completely different perspectives. But like even today, you were like, yeah, I kind of missed the boat on being a documentarian.
Yeah,
and I'm like, wow, it's interesting that like, you and I share so many references and passions. Like we're into the same, maybe not specifically the same bands or movies or whatever, but we're really into music and movies. And that
I like how Cass put it as like, those are the sacraments.
Yes. Yeah. They're the
During
sacraments.
the candy flip thing, it's like to celebrate our favorite sacraments, music and film.
Yeah. I mean, what better things, like, God, but it's really cool to see. It's interesting that you were raised in a different country, but you still like, watched Heat and wanted to go get the Robert De Niro haircut. That's the funniest fucking thing ever. How old were you? You must have been like 10 years old.
So when I was 13 years old and the movie Heat came out, I like went to my hairdresser with a picture of Robert De Niro in Heat, which I always like to put it like that, Robert De Niro in Heat, and said, I want my haircut like this, which is hilarious. A 13-year-old Dutch boy who has no facial hair or anything, like wanting to look like a 50-year-old Italian American.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, it's just absolutely bizarre. And I like dressed like Antonio Banderas in Assassins.
Oh, sweet.
Like he had this like pinstripe vest, and I was just like, damn, this motherfucker like dresses.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, I want to look like that. So it's like hilarious. You talk about body dysmorphia. I had like, I don't know what kind of dysmorphia that was.
Yeah,
That's, I guess why I'm like such a like morphic, shape-shifting personality.
Yeah, you're also like you're a character. I never had the balls to be like, why don't I dress like the people from Pulp Fiction that I love? I never, I was more like when Weezer hit the scene, I'm like, oh, well, that's what I am. I mean, I'm that guy. I'm gonna dress like that. I'm a slacker. I'm this like weird nerd. Like that was a really, really important band for me when that came out. We were 13. But yeah,
see, I didn't get raised on bands. I didn't have that experience. The music that I listened to was either there were like oldies on the radio, like 60s, like Summer in the City and
great one.
California Dreaming, this kind of like oldies classic stuff. Loved that stuff. And then movie soundtracks. So either like
Oh,
things
yeah.
like, you know, Pulp Fiction soundtrack, which are like compilations of great songs, or just like straight up movie soundtracks, and then like Simon and Garfunkel, which I got made fun of a lot because my friends all
amazing.
listen to happy hardcore.
Yeah.
They take MDMA and go like pick fights, which makes no sense.
Yeah,
Like
wow.
Gabber culture, it's called. They're like
Gabber culture.
yeah, they're like Dutch droogs. They would dress in. There's like
Whoa.
gabbers and gubbers and zwabbers. So a gabber usually dresses in a tracksuit. It's like a two-piece tracksuit of the brand Australian. That was like the thing. They'd wear like a bomber jacket. And then they would either shave the sides of their head and keep this like zwabber, which is like a mop on top, which they'd like tie up in a ponytail, or they'd go completely bald. Then they'd take ecstasy and they would dance, and it's called hakken, which means like chopping with an axe, because that's how you dance. It's like you kick and you like
Oh, I've seen this. Yeah.
happy hardcore stuff. And then they would go out and like pick fights, like this kind of.
Whoa.
And so like those were the people I hung out with, but like
You weren't part of it though.
no, it's like my best friend at the time in high school, he was kind of like gabber adjacent, but he had this like soft sensitive side, and so like for that, like he loved movies, and I would like show him like movie clips, like the old fashioned like pre-YouTube way, where I would like rewind a tape to like the part and like show this clip or whatever.
Wow.
And then when he was hanging out with his gabber buddies, he would kind of like diss me, because then I was kind of like, you know, the shadow of that thing. But like,
fuck, I forgot about that vibe.
yeah, but
When your friend is around cooler people and they start treating you like you're not as cool, like,
Yeah.
oh, that's such a that age thing.
yeah, it really is. But it's like,
Fuck.
but I don't think it ever really like did anything to me. I was always so confident in my own
Well, you
weirdness.
could have been a Gabberwocky if you wanted to.
A gabberwock. Yeah.
Oh man.
But it's, yeah, I mean, I was like the kid that I just didn't give a fuck. Like
Yeah.
there would be like kids outside of the school smoking cigarettes and eating chips, and I'd be like, hey, can I have a chip? And they would like throw it on the ground, and I would just be like,
Oh my
oh,
god!
man.
I know.
I'd be like, I don't
You know
give
this kind of guy.
like I don't give a fuck. Like you
Yeah.
can't phase me. Like
Yeah.
I was like a chubby kid, and they would like somebody would like throw some remark at me, and before it would hit me, I would already have it like sent back.
Oh, this
like,
made you who you
many-fold.
are.
Yeah, it's like I mean, my
I'm
wit
pretty
is
sure
a defense system. You know
Eating
what I
the
mean?
chip off the ground didn't have the effect you were hoping it would have, though.
It was delicious.
I mean, it's food.
The grounds are pristine. Yeah, I probably
Wow.
didn't, but it's like, I don't know. It's
Damn,
like it
dude.
didn't have the effect on them, maybe, but I wasn't doing it for them. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Right. You were building your character.
Yeah.
Dude, this is so revealing.
I still eat chips off the ground. I only eat them off the
yeah,
ground.
yeah, exactly. How else do it?
You want some chips? Yeah, sure.
Wow. Yeah, that's I think around that age I probably could have used a dose of like a little bit more silliness, because I was getting very much pulled into the punk rock culture, which is part of my backstory that would explain a lot about all my sensibilities, good and bad. But it's there wasn't that silliness at all. Like you know, I at least I wasn't that guy. I was getting pulled into, like, you're basically being radicalized, and you know, you grew up in a situation like what I grew up in, and there's like all of a sudden an outlet for your anger, and there's people that are speaking to it and making music that sounds how you feel inside, and it's very alluring. But there's like a whole ideology that comes along with it that I'm not really down with, you know what I mean? Like, weirdly I am, because I still suffer from this punk rock guilt.
What is the ideology?
It's almost like
I'm like in my mind, just I'm going to like that green room where like they're like the neo-Nazi punk rock
yeah.
chip. I'm like, what were you being radicalized into here?
I was just completely exclusively surrounded with like people. Like it's weird that it's like this. You're giving up on society, but like you're building this other thing, and
It's juggalo stuff, isn't it?
yeah,
Kind of juggalo.
yeah, but they're silly and fun. Like my scene didn't really have a lot of that. It had more like self-destructive, scary, anarchy, scary, like a lot of heroin, and like with the friends that were like a few years older than us, and just self-destructive partying, and I was more straight edge. But I took on a lot of that stuff, and I think it manifests now in like this weird aversion to like charging for our work, or just this DIY punk rock ethic that got me to where I am, but it's also held me back slightly. And I want to get over that. I think,
corporate punk is like the next
the
next wave.
Business class punk
Business
rock.
punk. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, there is a little bit of that. But, like all that music is still near and dear to my heart, and it still really hits hard. And I think it still informs not only my taste, but Cass. Like, I always say Cass is 7 years younger than me. She was just on the wrong side of the 90s music-wise. Because, like, whereas I got, like, Nirvana and Pearl Jam and Soundgarden and Green Day, like she got like Spice Girls and Ja Rule and like,
Green Day.
you got Green Day's Second Coming.
Well, that's what I'm joking.
Yeah. So it's just it's interesting. It's an interesting part of my backstory. That's a very revealing part of your backstory. Of like, what kind of character did you play back then? Because like even before when you said like, when I go back home, there's parts of me that are muted, and I think you attribute it to language, but it's also like, that's the way those people saw you.
Yeah.
Like I still get that with these friends when I get around them. I get this feeling like they don't really fully know me. I've never really been myself how I am around you, around these guys, because they think of me as like this punk rock ball buster.
It's a different. They have a different sense of humor. They have different references, things like that. So I'm much more like, I'm in polite culture in a way. Like I still am myself in a lot of ways, but there is, it's just a different curation of the self. Yeah, and it's a more limiting curation in that sense. And like, they'll call me like Mike or Mick, which is like at some point when I moved to the States, and I noticed like people are constantly shortening people's names. It's like, okay, I'll lengthen it. I'll lengthen it a little more. And then like, for like 20 years or something, I've been going by Michelangelo. That's how like most people know me. Yeah. So like being out there now, and all of a sudden it's like Mickey or like Mike or like things like, it's a different,
oh, hey, Mike.
It's a different way of being summoned too, because the name is like how you're summoned and controlled. And so it's like,
it's summoning something else.
It frames a different part of me.
We refer only to you as the ungoogleable Michelangelo.
Yeah. Well, we never would shorten it.
There wasn't even Googleable there. There wasn't Google wasn't even a thing back then.
Wow.
Yahoo wasn't. The internet wasn't even a thing.
Wow. Yeah.
It's like I was like Mike TV.
Really? That's what like you went by?
No. But I had TV. And I was kind of like that character Mike TV from Willy Wonka. Who's just like I had like movies in my head and TV shows and indoctrinated by the box.
I see like Cass had this core group of 8 girlfriends since like basically 9th grade. Some of them precede that, but basically that's when they all really coalesced into the grade 8. And they don't hold each other back at all, man. They bring out, they draw each other further out. Like that's when I see Cass be herself more than any time, is when she gets to be the fucking twisted fucker she was back in high school. Right? Don't you feel that way, Cass, when you get around these girls?
Yeah, I that's the best thing about relationship is different people bring out different sides of you and stuff.
Well, it's like what I was saying, like David, my director friend, is like, we've been friends for 27 years, and like even if we haven't seen each other in 10 years, we kind of like drop into a rapport. And it's just, there's something nice about that carrying through. He was also like my first friend who was an artist. So after like hanging out with the Gabber lower tier, and then I went to this private school, and that's where he and I met, and it was like, here's somebody else that's also like at a young age is like writing and is like has this ambition to like make something of themselves. And
wow.
Yeah, I like that Sean and I are pretty monogamous, but it does really, I've probably said this a million times, but it's the case for being more poly is like, if you love someone, see who they become around other people and allow them to explore that side of themselves. And
well, that's the pitfall, I think, in relationships is if you're not there to push each other to grow or to hold each other to flourish, then you're trying to keep each other contained in the known world,
Yeah.
Like, I know you like this, or like, like I've been in relationships where then the girl will say something like, she's like, you don't like black tea or whatever it is. It's well, I can change my mind on that, right? Like, hold on a second, like,
yeah,
like to have like everything written down, or like, hey, but you said that this about yourself, and it's like, well, I'm a work in process.
Wow.
You know?
Yeah. It's so funny.
WIP till we RIP. Man.
Yeah. I
Well,
like it.
Sean, you were saying that we were talking earlier today, and you're like, I wish we could have like another version of ourselves that had like kids, and we could check in on them and be like, how's Sean and Cass doing raising kids?
Yeah.
She's like, oh, Sean's on antidepressants. Like, well, it's not.
Well,
Yeah.
probably Sean with the kids would probably always check up on you guys, like, how are you guys doing here in the,
it's more likely.
how things in the
Yeah.
kids world? Can I like chill with you guys for a little bit? Oh man, Church of Chill is still a thing?
Yeah, like, oh, you're
Awesome.
still doing that?
We're doing Church of Children right now. It's, like it's a very different sermon.
Totally. You know, it's funny, and I think it speaks to who Cass is as a person really genuinely, but also like the foundation we've built is like Cass gets such a kick out of it. And it's been rare over the years. You could really think of it when I get like an instant crush on a girl. Like when some girl comes around and like knocks me off my center and I'm like, I have a crush on her. Like Cass thinks it's so fucking funny. And that's when I see her studying me more than ever. Like, and not in a threatened way at all.
That's
like,
I think that's so healthy.
Yeah. Is it? You think?
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, just
It's
the fact that you can appreciate him on any terms, really, like not like within like the bounds of who you want him to be, but that you can like enjoy.
Well, we were talking earlier about like our first acid trips, and you know, our first acid trip was like 3 tabs, and one of the many lessons I got out of it, but I think the first one was like, oh my God, we're here to play.
That was like the first thing you
We're
said
like-
out loud the whole day.
Yeah.
Cass was like, whoa, we get to play? And I didn't understand what you were even talking about. But I guess it's this kind of
Now
stuff.
you make playlists.
Yeah,
So it's like-
playlists.
Well, no,
Playlists.
like we're all our own
Pray to play.
bubbles, and we're like fairies within these bubbles, and like you have your bubble and I have my bubble, and like we get to like dance around each other.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
There's still a bubble there. Maybe it's a meat suit, maybe it's an auric field. I don't know what it is, but you can't get out of the bubble.
Well, you know, the poet Rainier Maria Rilke has a famous line. I'm probably going to butcher it, but in a nutshell, it's something like, the goal for 2 lovers is to be the guardians of each other's solitude. Which another way of saying, you're in a bubble, and like,
Yeah.
sometimes we can bounce our bubbles.
I
and
like that.
But I love that idea too. The idea that you're holding this space so that the other person can like go off into their world and then bring back, and you can share in the overlap, the concentric circle of the bubbles, and share what's there. But to not disrupt each other's solitude, you know, be together alone.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, to the point where I've thought, I'm like, are you trying to pawn me off on this girl? Like, are you trying to is this how you're going to get rid of me after all these years? You want me to fall for this one so I can have
If you
this
could,
movie?
I would want you to. That's the whole game. If you can, sure.
Go for it.
If you're someone I could lose, then I don't want to keep you.
Yeah. It's crazy because before you...
Damn, you are a crazy gambler.
I'm a crazy
Yeah.
That is
gambler.
a crazy gamble. But I respect that. that
Yeah.
gamble.
Yeah, I was with my 2 relationships previous to Cass were long 7-year relationships. I was in a 7-year relationship, like 16 to 23, and then like 23 to 30. And they let me do whatever I wanted to. Like, it was weirdly. Like,
You've got a type.
I guess, or I bring out a side in them. But like, Cass has walked the walk in a way that like, I wouldn't dare even ask them to. I didn't even know this was allowed, you know? And like, it's helped us. Like, that's when I think of us as psychedelic.
We joke that when you don't think there's a leash, you sit next to the peg.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, that's kind of our
That's
way
a
of
different kind
describing
of
it.
pegging, yeah.
Yeah,
It is.
definitely.
Like, she's got me pegged. She really has me pegged in that way. It's like, I don't, there could be no running off to whatever, you know what I mean? Like when we met Rashad, who's in our movie, the Twisted Cello Goblin. Yeah.
Tasmanian devil mode now.
Yeah. He had like the Nashville version of Cass as his girlfriend, and I was like, damn, I'm like enamored with this girl. And she had we had a little instant like something's going on here. And like, it's so funny afterwards. Like, I think I'm a smooth operator. It's so crazy what I can think about myself. Because I think I'm a smooth operator. No one even noticed that I was crushing on this girl. And Cass and Joey were just roasting me the rest of the
He
trip.
goes up to her and he's like, "Can I take your picture?"
She liked it. It did work. She did like it. Or maybe I'm delusional, but like, because
Oh
we
my
ended
God.
up seeing her
And then
later
the
that
other-
night, and she was staring at me from across the thing, and I was like, I got my hooks in her from just being like that.
He'll go up to some girl and be like, "Can I give you a sticker? Here's a sticker."
Oh man, that girl at Psychedelic Assembly. Oh man, I don't know her
Oh,
name,
yeah.
but I totally approached her with the same move twice. It took 2 different nights, and the second time was hilarious. Like I just went over to her. I was like, "Hey, you want a sticker?" And she was like, "Yeah, I already have one of them." So I was like, "Oh fuck!" And like I was like, "Oh, I really have nothing else to offer."
Just
I
rewind.
moonwalked out of there. I literally just
funny games moment, just like
Totally.
the remote.
Oh, I think she had a hold on you. I think there's some dominant personalities that you can kind of just crumble under, and I think it's hilarious.
Oh, it's crazy because I think I'm protected. I think I'm not susceptible to this. And I'm like, man, it is one of my weak points. It really is. Like, there's a certain kind of woman when they start giving me attention, I'm like, shit, I'm going to spend as much time with you as you'll allow. And that's how we end up in these fucking threesomes or, these thruples. And they've been great, They, for all the shit we've talked about it and everything it put us through and whatever, like, look, we're still standing. We're great. We're better than ever, And we think back of those times of our life as, like, very fondly. And to me, that's tab meets the tongue territory. When you become psychedelic, that's kind of the symptoms of a psychedelic life, at least for people like us who are in a committed relationship.
That's kind of like, do you feel like you don't want to recommend people do psychedelics? Because it's like...
Have you gotten to that point?
Well, I have a track record of the few times that I have wanted to like introduce people to psychedelics and these are like stories we can get into.
Yeah.
That it's like backfired in a way where I'm like, okay, I'm not the guy that gives people psychedelics or that's like, I'm going to initiate you into this. I'm more the guy that goes into the spaces, tries to take out of it what I can, and then I try to bring, to be the drugs for people that don't want to do the drugs or that do want to do the drugs. You know what I mean?
You're
like more like I want to be the drug. I'm not the guy that's like gonna gauge like
or I'll hold the space for you.
I'll give you an example.
I was just gonna ask for one of the. I was like, yeah, come on, man.
So there's a friend of mine, Alex, who originally I met in the concentration camps in Auschwitz. Okay. I'm not talking a past life.
All right, you're talking about this lifetime.
Yeah, we were on a tour. They call it hollow hopping. You go from like spot to spot in Poland, go check out all these.
It's what the movie A Real Pain is based on.
Exactly. Yeah, that's based on this story.
Yeah.
I'm the Jesse Eisenberg character. No, it's not based.
Sean loves you.
Yeah. So I meet him there. I noticed that like as everybody's kind of like touring through the motions of this thing, he's oftentimes like isolating himself and he's like kind of dictating into a little recorder thing, and I'm like, he's an interesting dude. He seems tormented in a way, but he's like an interesting dude. I want to know who's the person that's like isolating themselves from the group, because I'm kind of the same way. I like stand by and I have different observations. People would ask me, they're like, "Oh, so what do you think of all this?" It's like, well, what are you gonna say?
Yeah.
Well, I think the industrial engineering of collective murder is like really ingenious. Like they really got it down to a science. Like, what's the response you're looking for here? Of course, this is fucking horrible.
Yeah.
It's like, like 50 something members of my family died in these places.
Damn,
it's like
dude.
very few that lived. It's like it's intense, but this is where the other side of me comes in. It's like, while I'm walking through Auschwitz, I'm like, wow, these ruins, these like stark reddish ruins set against this incredible blue sky and these beautiful forests. It's like, it's beautiful. Like I see the beauty in a place where horror took place. And then I wonder, like, are the people that were in this place also at times aware where they'd have like a moment where they'd look up at the sky or they'd see a deer in the woods and they were free for a moment. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like that's where my mind went with it. But of course, when somebody on the tour is like, "So how do you feel about all this?"
Isn't there that
I'm
movie,
not going
A
to be like,
Beautiful Life? Isn't that the...
Oh,
yeah. Well, I mean, it's slightly different because that's the father that's like basically shielding his child from the experience in the concentration camps by clowning around and telling him that it's all a game and that it's like, look, I'm going with the guards.
Yeah.
Kinda like, it's Roberto Benigni. It's an incredible film. But it's a similar sort of thing. Yeah, like finding the light points in this dark experience.
But you're saying no one on this tour wants to hear that.
Yeah, like
It's not the place
if somebody's
for it.
like, "So what do you think of all this?" If I'm gonna say like, "Well, I was thinking it's very beautiful here," like that's not the conversation they're looking for. They're looking for commiseration and things like
Yeah.
that. So I'm drawn to this guy that's also kind of like isolating himself from the the mainstream of sorrow.
Ooh.
But he has his own little sorrow stream. So I end up meeting Alex. He's, I think like maybe like 5-6 years younger than me. I'm at the time, I'm like early 20s maybe. I think I'm like maybe 20, 21. And he's like 17, something like that. Just out of high school or something like that. And I get to know him, and he's like very, very smart, poetic soul, like an artist. Definitely like an artist. But I've been getting into psychedelics at the time. I'm telling him stories of like my breakthrough acid experience and all these things. And he had like a couple of friends, because I think they were on not a school trip, but they were like from this one school, and one of them was like a young journalist who was doing a piece. He actually, I think, coined the term hollow hopping, because it felt very like Disneylandish with all the little plaques and things that kind of like you were saying with the notes on Wild Magic, where they want to have like the place and the name of the person and their role and this kind of like delineation labeling of things. Yeah. It's like this horrific historical place is like all these placards of history that kind of take you out of the actual place and into like the conceptual structures of it. Makes sense, but stuff.
It does.
But so him and his friends are like kind of drawn to me because I'm like an eloquent speaker. I'm like, one of them said, he's like, wow, you're like, you're very mystical but very rational at the same time. Like you speak very abstractly, but at the same time it makes perfect sense, the things you're saying.
What language were you speaking?
I think I might have even been, they were all Dutch, but I think they were the kind of Dutch people that I could speak English to. You know, that sometimes happens. It's just like a preferred mode, you know? We all grew up on TV. We're all like that. And so at some point, I organized for Alex after this trip to meet up in Amsterdam, and we were going to take LSD with this guy, Bob, who was this little like LSD shaman elf guy who's like really had like LSD Barbie on his wall. He's really into LSD. The first time I met him, I was sitting in this coffee shop and I was bopping my knee, and he put his hand on it and he goes, processing tensions. And it like instantly I was like, whoa, there's so much insight into what he just said. And said, yeah, you know, when you take LSD, you really learn to study energies and you learn to let things flow through. He's like, you see the incense swirls? It's very beautiful, but you can't hold on to it. And then he looks across the room and somebody's like fidgeting something. He's like, don't do that. And they would like stop doing it. He was like this kind of guy, like, his eyes on everything.
He's in charge here.
He's in charge. Yeah, exactly. Badoomts. Exactly.
No strings attached.
Exactly. And he was the one also that gave me the acid, that gave me this like breakthrough experience years before. So I was like, okay, well, I've never tripped with Bob. Be very interesting to see, you know, like bring Alex over there. I think I brought him over to meet him, and then we were like, okay, we're going to do this. And then we did that, and didn't really work out. At first it was like, I remember like Alex put like, he had like a little note, he wrote nihilism, and he put that over there. He's like, in case I run into that throughout the night or something like that. You know? Like these like really like conceptual like train of thoughts that he could just jump from caboose to caboose. And at some point he said like, oh, this is kind of the new cool, which is, he said, as I remember seeing him in this convex mirror as he was walking into the room, he's like, this is like the new cool.
Great description.
Yeah, great description. But then at some point, Bob only listens to like psytrance. He's like, the beat in the psytrance is like your heartbeat, and that's the now, and everything else kind of revolves around it. So he was just playing the psytrance music, and then he put on this one record, and all of a sudden there's this like children's song that's like threaded into it, and I see this micro expression on his face where he's kind of like this eye roll thing, and I must have picked up on it, and then like some little imp in me like says, oh, what's the matter, Bob? You got some issues with your inner child or something like that?
Shit, you playing him at his own game.
And then what happens, like, cut to, like now suddenly I'm like eye locked with Bob. I'm like this groveling dog, like on the ground, like looking up at him as he's sitting like upright, and he's got this dragon phoenix like emanating from his being. His eyes are like locked with mine, and he says, eerlijk blijven, which means remain honest. He says, you don't come into my home and like, you know, disrespect me or something. There was like some like lesson that was being transmitted on multiple levels. And Alex is standing by, and he goes, I saw some things in your eyes. I saw some things in your eyes. I think I'm going to go. And then he's like went off on his trip. Bob and I hung out for a little bit. Then we parted ways. We got up the next day. We talked a little bit. Cool.
Settled it
To some degree. I mean, there was still like so much stuff to process, you know.
Oh, whoa.
A couple years later, I'm back in Amsterdam, and I hit up Alex, and I was like, do you want to go to the woods and do some mushrooms? So we go to the Amsterdam woods. We ate these little, the truffles. They're like little alkaline beech nuts, kind of like pistachios, but you get this kind of like battery acid thing like creeping up your throat afterwards. I like threw up pretty quickly after eating them. And we're in the woods. It's nighttime. It's coming on, and it starts to rain. So now we're in this like evolutionary epoch where like the climate is forcing us to migrate back towards civilization. So we're getting torn out of the woods. We're back at this like train track, waiting for a train to come. There's some other people waiting too. The train comes, but it passes by the station, and all the clocks go back to zero. And I say something. I look over at Alex, and I'm like, well, I guess we got to stay in the woods, or something. Makes like some remark like that. And that's where things go south, because in his mind now, I'm some demon that is trying to keep him in the woods. Like he's like, who is this guy? Michael is this artist. He lives in America. He comes here every couple years, and we do drugs. And like, who is this guy? This like weird mythic character, you know?
Yeah.
And so now the train finally comes. We're in the train. We're on our way to the city, and I'm noticing that he's like sitting a few seats up from me, and he's like kind of like looking over his shoulder, and it's like this sense of mistrust where I'm like, what is going on with him right now? Like, am I picking up on this correctly? And then when we get to the city, he like gets out and he starts like walking ahead of me, and I'm like trying to catch up with him, and he's kind of like looking over his shoulder. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And I was like, Alex, can we like stop for a second? Like, what's going on, man? He's like, I don't know if you're my friend.
Oh.
And I'm like, okay, do you need to be off on your own? Like, if you need to go off on your own, that's totally fine, but I just want to know that you're okay. And I was like looping like things that he had said earlier in the day, which like I was interpreting as like suicidal ideations and things like that, where I was like, fuck, like, is this guy going to do something drastic? Like, what's going on, you know?
Whoa.
So he's like, go on your way, just like check in with me later and let me know that you're okay, you know? So we go separate ways, and I'm walking. I'm drenched in the rain. I think I told you this part of the story before. I'm walking towards this bus stop, and I had like really long hair. I was very slender at the time, very skinny, and I had this like tailored kind of like pea coat. And I'm noticing that these dudes that are hanging out by the bus station, and they're all looking into my lens, like in a way that I'm not used to being looked at. And I'm like, what are they looking at? Like, what is this? And then I realize that they're kind of like catcalling until I'm close enough that they go like, oh shit, it's a guy. And they all like fucking scatter into like awkward, like, it was like the weirdest thing. Like, I was a woman for a moment. Because back then, like, psychedelics were a very like receptive space for me. Like, I was really into just like going inwards, looking for vision. And anyway, eventually I check in with Alex, and he was fine. He like went to a friend's place, and he read him some James Joyce, and he like chilled, and it was fine. And then he explained to me, he's like, yeah, you know, who is Michael? Like, this guy that every couple of years comes around and these things. Like, I didn't know this thing. He ended up being like, I saw him like a few years ago, like a beautiful man, just like a beautiful human being. He teaches people to survive in the wild, which is like interesting. You know, if you're gonna have something stay in the woods, you better be prepared. So he's like,
you changed the whole course of his life
in some
from
way.
one
Like,
sentence.
I mean, that's the connection I make with it. I don't know if that's what led to that, but in my lore, it is. He wrote a novel which I still want to read, but and he has like a beautiful family and a little place in Italy, and like, I didn't get to see him on this trip, but he's somebody that for me is like also like a distant soul brother that I just like hold dear.
Yeah.
Like very, very special. So those two experiences are like very pivotal to me, where I'm like, I'm not the guy that gives, that like that's gonna read somebody and be like, yeah, this person is gonna do good with.
Well, you're taking on a lot of karma. As you saying this, I'm like, I can't believe we've done this. And really, we haven't had those moments until we dosed 50 people at once.
Yeah.
And then you feel the karmic repercussions happening right then and there. You're like, oh, and nothing going haywire, really, just other than like the fact that it's not is a miracle. Why would we ever risk this? Yeah. Why would we ever risk this? This is crazy. You know, like, we have a mutual friend who showed up to one of our parties. We weren't even friends with her at the time. Showed up with her boyfriend, And I'll never forget. I know the moment that we changed her boyfriend's life. And if we just wouldn't have been standing where we were standing at that time, like the whole group was about to activate and he wasn't going to take the acid. And he was just kind of going to go off and play his little instrument on his own. And Cass saw him walk by while we were just standing there. She's like, "You're taking acid today?" And he's like, "I don't know. Maybe I'll take it tomorrow." He was trying to get out of it. And Cass was like, "You're taking acid
No,
today."
I want to clear my name.
Take acid like there's no tomorrow.
Yeah.
No, he said, "I'm not going to take it today. I'm going to take it tomorrow." And I was like, "That's ridiculous. We're taking Molly tomorrow. If you're going to take acid, you should take it today."
Yeah, today's
I
the
wasn't
day.
like, "You have to." I was
Today
just like,
lasagna, tomorrow spaghetti.
I'm just like, we're doing a group activation.
Yeah.
You don't want to be on acid when we're all on Molly, you know. And maybe, who knows? I don't know what's right for other people's lives.
I would love to catch up with him now and be like, "How did that day change your life?" Like, I know the
That's
material.
a whole podcast series right
it
there.
really is.
We dosed. Hi, folks. We dosed 40 people on LSD
5
And
years
now
ago.
Five
Yeah.
years later, we're going to check up with how they're doing. So,
Yeah.
how did your life change that night?
He's
now
been
it's-
hiding in the Himalayan mountains ever since.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like.
Well, it's getting to the point where people have, like, myself included, gone to the depths and then come back up, and you know, the whole journey. I mean, it was a crazy time. I don't take full responsibility.
It was a crazy time.
Crazy time.
Yeah, all we did was provide the amplifier.
Yeah.
And I think we held great space, and we definitely did. I don't think anyone would take that away from us. But since then, we're like less interested in that. We might, like, even with you, I'm like, I don't want to shake this guy's tightrope in any way. You know how
I trust. See, the thing is,
it would destroy my heart if you ever looked at me like, "Who the fuck are you?" Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're trying something for the first time around us, and all of a sudden you have that moment towards me. It would, it would do irreparable damage. I admire you that much.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't.
See, for me, I trust myself to hold space for other people in a way that I'm like, well, fuck, I have to do this. Like,
Yeah.
I don't trust other people to hold. I mean, there are a lot of people in this world that I trust more, that I would trust to also hold space, but I'm like, I know someone, and I'm like, I know they don't have a lot of people like me in their life. If anyone's going to hold this space, it should be me. Fine, I'll do it. You know, it's
Yeah.
like that
Well,
kind of
I
thing.
feel confident in myself now. I mean, we're talking like 20 years later.
Yeah.
You know, I feel very confident in myself in holding space for people. I just don't want to be the one responsible. I don't want to be the one that's like, "Hey, you never tried DMT? Here, have it," you know?
Yes, yeah.
Like, I'd rather, like, talk about my experiences with it, or if somebody's like, "Hey, will you sit with me while I do this?" I feel very confident in that, in holding
Yeah.
that space, to be the space holder that I never had. You know
Yes,
what I mean?
yeah.
And also, like, I've done ayahuasca ceremonies where I was brought on as like a musician, or as like an enchanter, but I don't want to be the facilitator. I don't want to be the one that's in charge here. You know what I mean? I want to be the one that's like charging it up.
Yes, yeah.
And there
That's-
have been moments like in like a mushroom ceremony where I was brought on as a musician, where I watched as energies kind of got like kind of went twisted, like literally to where like the only candle burning in the room, like all of a sudden like goes out, like
Oh,
the,
yeah.
the
We've been there.
oxygen, like the idea of like sometimes in this particular setting they would let other people also just like, if you have a song to share or something, and then somebody was like singing this like pained like "forgive me" kind of thing, you know, like where I was like, oh dude, no, don't let people let that out into a group like this, man.
Yeah.
This whole like everybody's a shaman trip is like, that's more cleanup for the cosmic janitor, you know.
Yeah.
And so, like, I remember when that happened, and then the candle went out, like, right after that moment, like, it was like, like, the oxygen just got sucked out of the room, and then I was like, oh, the facilitator's not even picking up on this, or is not doing anything, so then it was like, okay, I guess this is where I step in, and then I would, like, play something to, like, very subtly, like, reset the room. Like, I'm very comfortable in those kinds of roles, but I don't want to be the facilitator. I don't want to be the one in charge of like bringing in a bunch of random people.
Yeah.
You know, and then
I've realized as the years have gone on, and like that, like, you know, we are psychedelic people. This is obviously very much integrated into who we are and what our life is. I'm like, it's not about anybody else. It's like we both our work is to kind of shed impurities constantly, and I feel like we all share this in common, the three of us. Like we're the Clean Hearts Club. Not that we don't have scars, not that, you know, but like I don't think we're bringing hungry heart energy to any space. So like, even if you didn't nail every note perfectly in there, something about you being like, I'm here, would be very settling to me in those things. And I want to be that for people.
Yeah.
So that actually is a lot of work. That's a lot of work, because being an artist and being out on your own and trying to scrape out a living with your creations can create a lot of tension and negativity and nasty stories. And I cannot carry it around because we take drugs with people. It's as simple as that. Like, and I need to have a clean heart. And I was complimenting you on that the other day. I'm like, oh, it's so refreshing being around you, because I don't think you're bringing your sexual baggage or your needs about this, or my inner child could really use a massage right now. Like, just like, you know, like
I'm very self-sufficient, self-contained in that way. But it's also, I think it's the alchemical side of me, because there's definitely scars and baggage and things like that. But it's how you choose to express it into the world.
And when.
And there's like a certain way of, my roommate the other day, because he's been going through like divorce after like 12 years marriage and all this stuff, and like sometimes he'll like knock on my door like in the middle of the night, where he just like needs a moment to talk. And so he like did the other day, he knocked on the door and he like, kind of come in for a second, and then he like kind of like aired out his heart, and I just kind of like held space and everything. And then he like expressed his appreciation for me too, and like he's like, yeah, you're like this older guy who's been through a lot of this stuff, and you know, you give like a good positive spin on things. And I think that's like the key to it. It's like, yeah, like life is tough, but it's going to eat you alive, but you better like find, you know, enjoy, find a positive spin on it.
Yeah.
You make me
You
want to
get
be
to see
better.
the inside of life's mouth.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, we're in it.
No, make me want to be better, because, you know, I don't think you go to the lowest common denominator. You keep, there is like a levity that you can keep it at, where you're just like, give everyone the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
And like,
I don't talk shit. I talk manure.
Yeah.
It's
You manure.
It's fertile case studies.
Yeah.
Totally.
you're putting the shit talk to use. Like
Yeah, exactly.
Something's gonna grow.
We're not
with this.
flushing this. We're growing something.
Yeah. Yeah,
Totally.
it's really beautiful. It really is. And like, God, you and your roommate, that story, that's like, God, this so what sweeties. I would never knock on someone's door, and that's the part of me I need to get over.
Yeah.
You know, because I invite people to knock on my door, and I love when they do. And like, we were just spending a weekend with our wizard friend Devin, and like I know he was in a vulnerable place for a while, and he's kind of coming out of it. And like, you know, I'm doing a lot of on the nose, like hype my boy up, but it was something as simple as when Cass and I both together expressed like, we don't worry about you finding another partner or finding love in this life. Like, we don't worry about you. And that was the thing that like really he took away from the whole thing. It was really passing remark. Like, I thought it was like, I thought it was an epiphany of the obvious. Like, it was just like,
well, sometimes we need to hear these like
simple
things. Like when
shit.
you, like in the text when you said the other day,
It's
you're
just
like,
a better story.
you've got very clean energy.
Yeah.
Something like that. And I was like, I kind of took that, and it helped me reframe things too, as I was looking at these things in my life, where I'm like, oh, let's look at things in terms of like the cleanliness of energy of a person. Like, what I know what clarity looks like. So what if we put the lens of clarity on this person? And I'm like, ooh, okay, that's clean up in aisle 3.
It felt like a crude thing to express over a text message. I think it would have been better communicated. I'm glad you
put
understood.
extra consonants. You're like,
very clean.
And I was like, oh yeah, there's a lot of R's in there.
I was like, I'm like laying in bed. I'm like, oh, I hope this doesn't come off like I'm some sort of judge or keeper of the, like, it's just literally like, I do this for a living. I have to read people. It's like Cass put it, like, I grew up in a household with drug abuse, and I was the oldest of 3 younger sisters, and my mom, and I was a protector. So I'm sensitive. I'm very, very sensitive to people's vibrations. And yeah, I mean it as the highest compliment. It's not to put anyone else down, because we don't discriminate. We do not discriminate. I'll bring the dirtiest motherfucker and invite them into our life and like be like, all right, cool. This is the project. Like, they're going to help me shed my impurities and judgments, and I'm going to help clean them up a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's alchemy. You could stepping into the Negredo together and then like boiling out the impurities. And like,
explain that word. You were saying that last night.
Negredo. So in Negredo, word of the day, Negredo.
Sounds like a town in New Mexico or something.
Probably is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the black, you know. It's like it's the shit. It's the impurity. It's
the shilajit.
It's the yeah.
It's
It's
the
the
shilajit of the soul.
Yeah, shilajit. Shit for short. You know? The shit of the soul. The shit of the soul.
It's a
So
concentrate.
you get the alembic, right, which is like the purifying vessel, and you put the shit in there, and then you boil out the impurities until finally the shit turns to gold. But it goes through these different levels. So there's the what is it? The albedo is the white. So it's like albatross. That's where that comes from. Which actually the albatross is also the vessel. Is I think is the alembic, and then there's the albatross is I think another vessel. I could be messing all this up. Then there's these other levels, like this yellow level, red level, and it's like they're all different levels of purification until you get to that white, that purity, and that gold.
Wow.
But the negredo, when I use the word, it's often just like when you go into the shit.
Yeah.
Just go into the dirt in order to clean it up.
Yeah, it's good to have words for these things,
Yeah.
because I think otherwise, if we use already pre-established, like words we've known from our childhood, they come with charged, like guilt and like, oh, what are we doing? And
I call that eclipsing descriptors. It's like words like love or God or consciousness, like these big words. We throw them out, and there's all these assumptions that we're talking about the same things, while there's like it's an eclipsing descriptor. The description eclipses the thing we're trying to say. So unless we, and that's what consciousness expansion is if you learn new words, now you have new territories you can explore, you know?
Well, you allow me, and this is why you're such a good friend, is because like I can go into Negredo mode and like, look, I don't love when people do that around me, but I will help transform it into something else. And like you holding space for that, like Cass will even say to me like, don't talk shit up to Michelangelo, but I'm like, yeah, but he's asking, and like
He's asking for it.
and he's the only one that'll understand. Like,
And he'll transmute it.
and he'll
spill the dirt.
Yeah, I love that you'll do that without. It seems like you're not holding judgment on me because
I'm like, he doesn't talk shit, so don't do it to him.
It's not gossip, it's gospel, man.
yes, exactly. And I think
Well,
that
I think of everything as case studies, you know? Like, if we're talking about a person, it's really, we're sharing the intel of the facets that have been revealed that we can see, and then we puzzle with them. But they're case studies. Like, you can even, like, take this away from the actual person and look at this, because they're really, you know, you turn the finger back towards yourself, and it's like we're really trying to understand ourselves. It's self-portraits as other people, you know?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Well,
It's the name of my podcast. Check it out. Haven't put an episode out in almost a year. Go check it out.
rebrand coming up.
yeah, I think we've been lately trying to navigate like the need to vent, but how to do that with each other. And because sometimes I'm like, we joked about how this, like, sometimes I'm like, Sean, I understand that you're puking, but you're getting puke on me.
Yeah, but
You
then I
know?
start getting held.
Flashcards of the soul.
I start getting held to an impossible standard, and like Cass is like almost like the little bit of shit talk that we'll do that we then turn into like we're actually praising this person and how much we admire them, and like we get somewhere with it. Like Cass is almost like protective of other people. Like, don't get that on them. Don't involve them. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm not just doing it frivolously. I'm doing it with a man who's seen some shit and been some places and has his own stuff, and like we all know we do, and none of it is like, well, I'm better than so and so and I hold more pristine, better space. It's just like not at all.
I'm not bragging.
No.
I'm ashamed of the life I live.
I watched Oxiana the other night. There's
Thank
a guy
you.
in there.
You know, people ain't gonna, you know, I just took it, and they ain't gonna come out looking for me here because I'm convicted of 2 murders. I ain't bragging. I'm ashamed of my life I lived, you know, but them's the facts.
Wow.
I don't know if that's what he sounded like, but
Yeah, kind
in my
of.
mind,
He
something
was a
like
little slower. Almost every impression you do from Oxiana, I'm like, if you did it on half speed.
I watch it on 1.5
Oh,
speed.
perfect.
That's how I watch
That's how you get
movies.
through a movie.
Yeah, especially like Stalker, two times speed.
2.5.
Yeah, I just need to learn to speed read those
These
subtitles.
guys are running into the zone.
Come on, when are we gonna get to the zone? Come on. 2 hours, we're still not at the center chamber. Come on, man. Tracking shot across the dirt. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, meanwhile, I'm like, I've never held a film in such high esteem. I don't think. I don't even know why.
Well, it's the metaphor, man. There's just like a very potent metaphor and an ambience, like a philosophical ambience that gets conditioned. It's consciousness expansion. That's another language, and it's like the zone. You can say the zone, and there's so much resonant radiation coming
Yes.
off of that, you know, that
Yeah.
that's by making that film, that's another word, you know, that whole 3-hour thing is a word in its own right.
Yeah.
So you can say stalker, the zone, and immediately somebody that's seen it knows
Yeah,
what
and
you're talking
you're
about.
really on the same page with them without having had to take drugs or all this other stuff. Like we had this experience together.
Well, that's what's cinema to me. Why I've been like a cinephile. I have to go door to door, you know, telling people like, I just moved into the neighborhood. I'm a cinephile, you know.
I'm registering.
Yeah, I'm a registered cinephile. You know. The reason I have to do that is because it is a drug. It's really like it's the medium of time. You know, it's the medium of all the different mediums coming together, and that what is more psychedelic than that? Like to make the mind manifest in time. You know, I've been thinking about even the word mind is such a like eclipsing descriptor.
Yeah.
Because then we like equate consciousness and mind, or body is separate from mind. But you know what? I came up with an equation. I haven't quite worked it out yet, but this is
This is what this podcast is for.
Yeah.
You take the worked out equation over to Third Eye
we'll work
Drops.
it. If anybody has any anything to add to this, please subtract from it. It's not even math; it's just pure myth. But it's body plus time equals mind. Are you starting to record now?
Nope, it's all good. It's been going.
We're starting over. All right.
We'll go on that take again.
Yeah. Body plus time equals mind.
Oh.
That mind is really just body over time.
Wow. That's a really
There's
good
more
way.
to it, but that's
There's more to the equation.
Yeah. But that's the big thing in there. Right.
But does there even need to be more to it? Like, of course there
I
is.
think it's enough.
Yeah, it just feels like
Nobel Prize, please. Pulitzer Prize, please.
It feels like it could be like one of these Goodwill Hunting, equations.
Yeah. MC square.
Yeah.
Plus. No, just leave it at that.
That's fine.
E equals MC. And we're done.
Yeah.
George Costanza moment. All right, I'm out of here.
Yeah, wow, that's really good. I think it's like I really like revisiting these concepts that we all gloss over. Like you were talking about this before in terms of the word consciousness.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that for a second?
I
know it's a can of worms.
Yeah, that's a can of worms. But let's see how we would tackle. Well, I mean, let's just look at let's go back to body, mind, time, right? Then we add language into it, which is the fabric with which we think of language as a communicative tool, but it's also a perceptual tool. Like it's what we use to frame our perceptions. If you can't frame it, if you can't name it, if you can't narrativize it, you're not conscious of it. That means it's unconscious or it's subconscious, right? So if you can expand your language, new worlds prompt new words prompt new worlds. So now you're expanding that whole thing. Because a lot of times we talk about consciousness and it's a big everything, or we're really talking about like sense perception, or we're talking about like not being in a coma or not being asleep, being conscious. And that's why people get really muddled over like, oh, are animals conscious? Are people conscious but animals aren't, or something? It's like, well, I think we're talking about sentience. Like animals obviously are sentient. They can feel, they feel emotions, but they don't narrativize.
Yeah.
Right. So
I call this awareness. That's what one of the descriptors I use with consciousness.
But awareness is still like very vague.
It is.
It's like, are you aware of this? How are you aware of this? You have to model it in a way. So you're aware of it by seeing it for what it's not. And so like animals are aware, hyper aware even, but they're not narrativizing. They don't have a story about themselves. So like, I'm really into this guy, Julian Jaynes, who passed away long ago and only wrote one book, but he goes into it very deeply and very in depth into like the definition of what he means when he talks about consciousness and where it came from and all this. But in a nutshell, and this is dense, but we'll see where it takes us. It's that which is introspectable, and it consists of a metaphorical mind space with an analog I / metaphor me that can move around in a metaphoric mind space. So it's really, and it's narrativizing. So it's really this little voice in your head that's narrativizing things, and that you is not you. It's like it's more like your self-perception. It's an analog of the physical behavioral person. Like a lot of times people want to like disown the body.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like body maligning in this world.
Totally.
Right now, I want to because I have to go pee, but I'm just gonna do it.
expel it.
Yeah.
Expel fluids from the flesh.
Yes, expand it.
But yeah, that
Wow.
that the body, you know, there's that William Blake quote, like the idea that the mind is separate from the body should be expunged. It's like I feel like the body mind, the animal mind, the sentient being that's what you are. That's the thing that moves through space. But what Janes is basically positing is that before we had the ability to introspect, before we had this subjective consciousness in place, there was a thing called the bicameral mind, which is basically we would move around on autopilot, and then if we'd have to make a decision, a hallucinated voice from one side of the brain, usually from like a hierarchical point of view, like a king or a god or an overseer or a parent, would bark an order, and then we would obey, because the voice is, you can't even close your ears to it. It's coming from within, and it's telling you to do this, and this is your God speaking. So then that's how you would make your decisions. And then as language, this was a byproduct of language when it first came about, is that, as you're speaking, your brain is somehow like looping language into it. So now it can use language as a hallucinatory control system to like bark from one side to the other to make decisions. But as language gets more complex, as metaphors for the physical behavioral world become more abstract, where it's not just like, it's a chair, it's a couch, it's a painting. But now we're talking about like law, or we're talking about justice, like these very abstract kind of landmarks. It starts building this metaphoric mind space where now this like phantom of yourself, this like metaphor of yourself can move around concepts as though they are objects in space.
Whoa.
And the thing is, language is always, it's seen as such a byproduct, or such a like, oh, this is what we make small mouse noises, how we communicate and everything. It's how we perceive. It's how it's the thing that keeps us trapped in the tensions of time and in duality and all these things. So it really is like the structure and fabric of consciousness.
So when you talk about this, it's like the expansion of language is the expansion of consciousness.
Yeah.
And I think of it as like creating really lush, new, fertile real estate in your existence, to the point where maybe your old shitty stories become like just like abandoned, haunted old neighborhoods that you don't want to go back to. You know what I mean? And I think that that's why consciousness expansion is very alluring and addictive, and because I don't know, it's just like I don't know. I'm hooked on it, I think, because it helps distance myself from all the shitty things, all the shitty stories, the things I held on to that I thought were me. And now I can identify with those things less because I'm plowing forward. I wanna,
rewriting.
Yes.
Re-editing.
Yeah.
Well, it's also, we use the word consciousness to mean what I just said, but also we use the same word to talk about basically unconscious things. So like, if you're on a psychedelic and your linguistic centers get melted down and you're just in like visionary fractal feeling space, then we also talk about that as consciousness, but that's really the unconscious. But we're now taking off this crown and we're becoming attuned to this like cellular, atomic, collective, fungal, organic networks that are compiling this, that are holding together this little surfer on the wave that we call the self.
Yeah.
Like you were saying on the Third Eye Drops doc, right? You were like, man, how do these entities see me?
Yeah.
Like I wonder, what am I to them? And that made me think of this exact thing where we're like, what you think you are is, Sean, who has 2 arms, 2 legs, who is sitting here in a chair, who has been through these experiences, who's here with Cass, who does this podcast, who makes documentaries, like this story, right?
Yeah.
But what you are is like a collection of lots of organisms working together. And obviously, like, since my like leishmania parasitic infection, this has really festered in my consciousness, this idea that you really do contain multitudes, and not just contain multitudes, we are multitudes that it's almost, we can't handle that. Like, that's no place, infinity's no place to raise your kids. So we like take refuge in this little carved out crown of consciousness where we can say like, okay, I am this, I am going into the DMT space and encountering entities. I'm like, well, what if you're just taking off the crown of who you think you are, and the cellular collectives are now finally getting to speak up, and they're saying, hey, dude, eat more broccoli. You know, like,
It's sometimes as simple as that.
right? Hey, dude, drink more water.
A
Hey,
whole carrot
Ra-
is a meal. That's
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a big one.
And it's like, hey, it's all love. Like, what is more love than all these systems working together to uphold this illusion that we somehow have fortified through our civilization, where we're like building cities that we think are like, that's reality. Bank of America, that's reality.
Yeah.
This is a stage, you know, like this is human
man.
theater.
Yeah. And it's almost too much to bear when you're aware of that.
Yeah,
It's-
because you still have to function in it. So now you're between worlds. you
That's
know?
the bummer. That is the bummer. But it's also kind of like the beautiful thing about life, you know.
And if you're an artist, you get to play between those realms, I think, because you realize that it's malleable.
Yeah.
Like that's we were talking manure about Burning Man yesterday. But one of the great merits of it is that civilization gets burnt down and broken down at the end of the week, which is like the main folly of Western civilization, is that we don't revise it often enough.
Yeah.
That our systems become the haunted houses that we inhabit.
Yeah.
The haunted house of history that we inhabit. That, you know, it's like, yeah, burn it down and then rebuild it, you know, like regenerate the forest from the ashes.
We're due for this. It feels necessary. I keep telling like our parents who are very, very scared and media poisoned. I'm like, this is just a death rattle, and that calms them down for some reason. But I'm just like,
makes me think of like a baby rattle.
Yeah.
death rattle.
Yeah, totally.
Life rattle, death rattle.
I feel all the current energy as like a clinging, and it's just like, oh, we are stepping into whole new dimensions individually and collectively, and this is just the death rattle of the people clinging to the very comforting thing that we've had for the blink of an eye.
Yeah.
But I'm all about Thomas Jefferson said, like, every generation should be having an American Revolution. Like, he did not think about we have the American Revolution, and that took place
Got
now.
that out of the way.
We got that done with it. It's like, no, this is a necessary part of our collective immune system.
Yeah.
And it's awakening now. And I'm trying to more and more, because there's a lot of pressure on me, because I can get really into the political weeds, and I can speak and use my gift of words to get into that, but I don't want to.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
But that's why I love
another
about
calling.
your art is that it bypasses all these denominations and it just gets to the heart of humanity. you know?
Yeah, it was part of the criticism of Oxiana. We didn't face much criticism, but the part of it was like, well, but what's the solution? Oh, you're just going to sit here and humanize all these people? Who to blame?
Filmmaker. I'm not.
Yeah, like, hey man, don't ask me.
I'm not trying to offer a solution. I'm
That's-
trying to offer a window for people that might.
It's a
might
convenient
have.
excuse, but it's
Dude.
also actually really relevant. And like who am I to say what these people need? I'm here to listen to them. Maybe that's all they needed. Maybe all they needed was for someone from New York to come down and shine a light on them and say, oh no, I see the good in you. You know what I mean? I'm gonna take the scraps of what you said back, and I'm gonna make something that expands people's circle of compassion, that includes you guys and helps them see, you know. And anytime someone gets on and wants to talk shit about those people on YouTube, if I catch that comment going by, I'll say, these motherfuckers kept the lights on in this country for generations, and we just turned our back on them. Once we exploited all their labor.
Right, because they're coal miners.
Yeah,
right?
left them
Coal miner
sick.
town, yeah.
We leveled their mountains. We took their resources, and we stole their whole their culture and their way of life, and everything was just raped and pillaged. And for you to sit here and be like, oh, what, they're just bored, so they need to take drugs? It's like, you have no idea. You didn't watch this movie properly if you're coming away with a judgment on these people. And I feel very strongly about it for that movie in particular, because I'm like, you think this was convenient for any of their lives to go out there and shoot up on camera or tell me what they've done, or talking about finding their dead family because of pills? And like, come on, man. Like have a heart. That's kind of what all of our films are saying.
Yeah.
Have a heart.
Well, I think that's the biggest fear that we're getting from our parents, and the biggest fear I have personally is there seems to be a lack of heart and humanity right now, and just a general numbness to the suffering of people and the ripping of people from their children, and children being ripped from families, and just like general devastation that we've just become like this is just normal. A normalization.
Well, 'cause we see it on TV or we see it on the internet. And since the Vietnam War, right? That's the first time that it got televised.
It blunts our senses.
Yeah, and we watch so much violent media that it's just another. I remember when 9/11 happened, and my girlfriend called me up, and she was like, "Turn on the TV," and I turned it on. It was like the smoldering Pentagon. I was like, "Yeah, okay."
Yeah.
And then it's like, planes flew into the towers, and I was like, "Oh shit, I should check on my homies in New York." But there was no like implication of like, "Oh, this is like a big thing." It wasn't until years later that I was like, "Holy shit, my whole life got rerouted because of those events." Like everything changed in there because it's something I saw on TV.
Yeah.
And that's, even when we're seeing like all this stuff that's on the internet, all this like war-torn Middle East stuff, it's like it's still like through screens and then there's another eclipsing descriptor is to say like, yeah, but that's what happens in war, Like, that's it. Kids get blown up in war, and people get hurt. But it's like, do we still need this?
Not
like,
at all.
Who can?
There's like
who's in charge here?
Who's in charge? Well, the military-industrial complex.
Well, there's
actually.
like a helplessness that happens among people who are like, this is not okay. I don't want this. How do we stop this? And then just seeing like blatant celebration of it from those who are in charge here.
Yeah.
And so it's just like a very confusing space to inhabit right now.
Yeah. Well, I think we shouldn't have an in charge here. I mean, that's also like, I don't have a solution, like anarchy is not necessarily the best way to go about it, but yeah.
But there's something to it. It not in the cartoonized version, the commodified version of it, but there is something to that. Like, do you need a government? Like in your body and your head?
Who
or
am I going to pay taxes to?
Yeah.
I do. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So there's just a whole.
But it's more complex than I can wrap my head around, because it's like, oh yeah, but who's going to maintain the roads, and who's going to like.
Yeah.
Who's going to run the DMV? And
yeah.
I don't even know. Like, that's why I keep my tentacles out of those arenas, and I'm more like akin to you in that way, that I want to look into the heart of this world. And I love the way that you're able to shine a light through those cracks and show that humanity. Yeah. Because, what just popped into my mind is random examples like the Flint water crisis. Is that still going on? Is that still a thing?
Definitely.
I think they just...
The fallout from it definitely is going to be happening the rest of our lives.
Yeah, so that's like stuff that you hear something about on the news, oh, this is happening, but like something like Oxiana would like shine a light into what that means on like a person. Like, these are people with names and stories and experiences that they're trying to numb themselves from, or wake themselves up, or heal themselves from, or move through.
And if we made Oxiana about like, we're going after Senator Joe Manchin, it's this politician did it. It was this CEO and this pharmaceutical. Like, we don't mention the Sacklers once in that movie.
In some way, that movie is kind of a ghost town movie, but the people are still alive in it. But they're haunting the present. Yeah, and right. The past is haunting them, and it does feel like a haunted house in a way. It is, and that thing that we don't want to look at, and we want to distance ourselves from, and we're able to easily hide behind like the distancing ourselves through it because of the hillbilly accents and the ATVs and the shooting guns and like just like all of this stuff that I think we've just easily categorized as like, yeah, we don't think about that. We don't talk about West Virginia. That's just like our fucked up little cousin. And it's just like, no, but our fucked up little cousin is the one that got us here. How are we not helping him? He's hopelessly addicted. There's a lot there. There's a lot there. And I'm glad that somehow at 30 years old, like I was saying to you last night while I was like tripping a little bit, I was like, who made that movie? That was so clever. That was like that felt beyond my years and my skills at the time. Now I look back and I'm like, cool, that movie started to really help me find my voice and make me understand how potent this medium could be. Yeah. Really, like it is such a powerful thing. That's when I think I said Into the Negredo, right? Like that because you were talking about your own family and your upbringing. Yeah. And that really going into that place was going into the heart of your own lineage and your own family trauma, similar to like in the Third Eye Drops doc, where you're talking about like the kinks in the genetic linkage that the flow of love that needs to happen. Oh shit, this hose is like twisted up. Let's unkink that, and to like symbolically go into that by, again, self-portraits as other people, like looking at these people really as like parts of yourself that you're going into to like hold in light.
Well, and this is where like I don't express it much, but like like looking back, and it's like I'm so grateful I was raised by a father that was struggling, because like you were saying last night, like he protected me. That was his way of protecting me.
He took the bullets.
He took the bullets
for you. Yeah,
he really did,
so that you wouldn't take that path.
Yeah, and I so didn't understand it, but I know how kind-hearted he is, and innocent and sweet and love-deprived, that I can't not see that in other people. So like I was saying to you, I'm like, there's no person I'm going to come across that's ever going to do as wrong by me as I felt my father did when I was coming up.
Yeah.
Very specifically, like stealing money from me. Just like him and I, like almost throwing paws at each other, like just, and me trying to protect my family, and like me wishing he was dead. Like, God, that's such a dark.
And him almost dying and killing you.
And yeah, him trying to kill himself by starting a car in our garage, which my bedroom was attached to.
Oh my God.
And he probably stumbled out of there with 10 seconds left to live. And I held him in my bed all night, and just calmed him down and showed him some love that I can't believe I even had access to at 18 years old, But he wanted out. And, I can see that in other people. I can see through all of the stuff and all of even the layers that they voluntarily put up sometimes, when you get around a guy where you're like, okay, this motherfucker, you know what I mean? And I'm like, wow, you choose to put on that mask? Isn't that heavy? So I think it all can really be traced back to like what some would call my childhood traumas. It's just my story. Like, I don't know. There's one way of looking at trauma where it's like, there's a traumatic event, but the trauma is in how far you drift from who you really are in wake of that. And I don't feel like that's really happened. I think I've found who I really am in wake of the traumatic events.
That's what I call fun with trauma,
Yeah, totally. Oh my God, that gotta be the name of this podcast. I'm sorry.
That's why I hit him in the balls.
Yeah, exactly.
I have a little fun with his trauma.
Yeah.
A good example where I coined the phrase "fun with trauma" was, well, I was living in the jungle with Rosa. There, the first time I took LSD in, what was it, like probably almost like 8 years or something like that.
Damn, you take big breaks.
Well, it used to be like every 5 years or something.
Yeah.
I would take it, and then I'd be like, I'm good for another 5. But it's been like a really long time. And then the time we took it was when we were on the Indiana Jones Bridge, and it collapsed from under us, and I was hanging there like Rambo, 10 feet suspended over the ground, and then the whole thing came down, and like...
This sounds like a dream.
Did I ever tell you this story?
No.
Oh my God. Well, that's a separate. I did it on Ramin's podcast. I went into the whole thing, but so we went through this experience where basically, like, I'm dangling there. So we're standing, peaceful moment under the stars on this Indiana Jones bridge at night, peaking, and then suddenly, boom! Cut to like the earth literally falling out, splitting open from under us, and I'm hanging there. Somehow, I like grabbed hold, and there was a moment earlier in the night where I was like running around feeling possessed by 100 Maori warriors. I was like, like having that energy.
Yeah.
And I was like running, literally like climbing up the walls by where the hammock is latched into the wall, like, like 1960s Batman, like vertical walking and holding on. And I'm like, I'm not the guy that does that.
Yeah, right.
But later on, I was like, I was precognitively priming my grip. So that when that moment we're walking up the stairs and I'm like, we're so lucky, and then we're on this bridge and it collapses and I'm holding on there, I'm hanging there trying to look down, figure out how to not fall on the jaggedy
did she
rocks.
fall?
She's up on the part that's still intact,
Holy
looking
shit,
down
bro.
at me, and in her mind she's watching me die 1,000 deaths or worse, seeing my spine ruptured. All this stuff is going through her head, and this is my force majeure moment where I'm glad I didn't and she didn't abandon our instincts. I say something like, get back or that part's going to fall too, save yourself. And she's trying to save me. And then moments after that, the whole thing comes down. She comes tumbling I come tumbling, all the pieces come tumbling. I get up, I check, make sure, because I don't know, I'm like high, you know?
Yeah.
Adrenaline is pumping. I'm like, let's make sure that I don't have like a spear in my side right now. Like, let's make sure that nothing is broken. It's like, I think I'm okay. Are you okay? Are you okay? She looks, her foot is very bruised. I'm like, let me look at it. It's you know that moment in The Simpsons where Homer has a dream that there's like the invention of the future. Homer came up with it.
Yeah,
He's like, oh, let me see it for a second. Every time he shows it, somebody gets in front of it.
It's
it
so
was like
great.
that. I was like, let me look at your foot. It's like the foot went all the way around to like evade my glance. And so I went hobbling through the muddy night jungle to our neighboring property to get some help. And like in the end, it wasn't broken. It was fine, but you know, we were a little shook up.
Mm-hmm.
But the rest of the night we just like chilled, and then we had another trip like a few months later, and I come walking into the room. She's laying on the bed. I come walking into the room. I got my little Bluetooth speaker on my belt, and I'm playing Claude Debussy, you know, like very like airy, cloudy music. And I'm kind of like drifting in on the music, and I'm doing a little dance thing, and I like come towards her, and she's kind of like grabbing for me, and then I'm like pulling away. And in that moment, I know this is triggering the moment of the fall. And so I can see in her eyes she's going there, this moment of like, I'm about to lose him. He's about to fall into this thing. And then I like bring it back around and I say, see, we're having fun with trauma. You know, we're taking that moment and we're making it safe again.
Wow, beautiful. Beautiful work. And beautiful words. Beautiful words. We have to. We're naming this podcast that, and people might be confused because we've just been going an hour and 45 minutes. They're gonna have to wait to get to that gem, which is worth it.
Oh, we're gonna chop it at some point, huh?
No. Normally, look, this is what I'll say. We'll get into the self-promotion.
We've gone on too long.
Normally, this would be 2 episodes, and you'd have to go to patreon.com/churchofchill to get the second half. But we're going to be, especially generous. But because Michelangelo's been so generous with his time and his art and his words and presence and everything. But buy this man's book, Lure Spores Volume 1. The other book I have on my coffee table, I love your first one.
Impatient Transformations. It's the second one, actually.
Oh, that's the second.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. Impatient Transformations.
What's the first one?
First one is called The He and the She of It.
Oh,
and
we need that one.
Are there
that
copies of that available?
I have a few of them.
Okay.
Yeah, that one was actually illustrated by like 35 different artists. During the pandemic, I would have they were like leftover phrases from writings that I liked these phrases on their own, but I didn't know what they were. And then I was like collecting them, and I was like, oh, they all have this through line that they're kind of about relationship dynamics, about like binaries or non-binaries or whatever, you know, like relationship dynamics. So I collected those into a document, and then during the pandemic, I was like reaching out to different artists that I knew and being like, hey, do you want to pick a phrase and illustrate it? And so people would pick these things, and then I got this book together. It's the first time that I was like, oh, I can actually put a book together. And then my friend, this Brazilian graphic designer, Renata Chavsky, I call her. Chavs means key, so Chavsky is like key.
Awesome.
She like volunteered to help do the layout and everything. That's where I learned. When I did the next one, I did all the layouts myself, but I learned a lot from her in that sense. But yeah, it's a very simple. It's kind of like somebody described it as like Shel Silverstein for adults. The title comes from James Joyce line that's, every tailing has a telling, and that's the he and the she of it.
Ooh, love it.
And it's a fun little thing. But yeah, Impatient Transformations is the second one that's like, oh my word.
Powerful. But Lure Spores Volume 1 is
the creme de la creme.
I mean, it's your latest thing, and
it was all leading to that.
I'm becoming one of these people, like this bullshit idea of like, well, that was the window I had to sell that one, and like, no, we got to open this window and keep it open.
Cool, I appreciate that.
Like really, like,
because I've kind of like gotten to a point where I'm like, I'm like.
You said I was like, let's get you on the podcast. You're like, I don't really have anything I'm pushing. I'm like, you have a book out. What are you talking about? That was like a minute ago.
We should always be pushing everything we've ever done.
Well, at the end of the podcast,
especially that.
That one, please, yeah.
And I'm doing a workshop on the 20th. I haven't put the links up or anything, but in the workshop, we basically go through a lot of the stuff from that book, and it's gonna have like some live demonstrations of how to like pull forms forth and
That's coming
do
up.
some more storytelling and things. Yeah, July 20th
A Sunday.
on a Sunday.
Yeah, and
So if somebody's interested in being part of that, it's going to be kind of interactive and demonstrative, and it's going to be just
please show your support, because we need artists like yourself to keep doing their thing.
Keep living.
And keep living and
Staying alive.
Yeah.
Gotta
So
have fun with some trauma.
the ungoogleable.com is where you can find all of this stuff.
And dig around, people.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing.
Spend
it's like
some time on there. Look slowly.
Look slowly. We're living in this time of content being avalanched, and there's always just like when people look at your Instagram, they look at like the last 8 squares or something.
Yeah.
But it's like there's so much, sometimes more interesting stuff, like deeper down.
Yeah.
And like the website has, I don't know if a lot of people know that I've made music or that I've made films and things like that.
Unbelievable.
Like there's so much stuff there to click buttons. Like when's the last time you went to a website?
Yeah.
When's the last time you went to a website?
Dig in. And look, you've heard it a lot, but like we're just at the beginning of trying to get like phase 1 of the Wild Magic release was like deploy the homies. Let's get our network of people to see this movie and get behind it. But like phase 2 is like taking it beyond that. So if you haven't seen the movie, please check it out.
Watch that.
Wildmagic.tv. And tell somebody about it, or have a group of friends over, and if you know a podcast we'd be good on, reach out on our behalf. It's so much more powerful than us being like, can we be on your thing?
Yeah.
Right? Don't you think?
Yeah. I mean, that's if you're like a grassroots artist like you guys are, like I am, we're not repped by anybody. There's nobody pushing for us but ourselves. It's like it's the community that benefits from it, that feeds it, and that gives it legs,
Yeah. And I think like we undersell it.
Wings even.
We totally undersell, but we have a really good thing going with this weekly film club that we do. We watch a movie throughout the week. Everyone watches it on their own, and then we get together on Monday nights and we talk about it. And they've been like...
Sometimes there's even like filmmakers that come in.
Yeah.
We've talk about their work, like notable filmmakers.
Yeah, so it's really worth checking out. And that's all you could get on that and our Discord through patreon.com/churchofchill. Is there anything else?
I also have a Patreon.
What's your Patreon?
/Void Denizen.
Yes, cool. Check that out. And
there's like the Patreon is such a cool thing too, because people are like, oh, you pay a few bucks and then it's archives too, man.
You get all this content.
You get for like a few bucks, you get like years worth of unseen, unheard.
You could give us $2 and get hundreds of hours of music curation alone.
You're stealing from us.
Yeah, you pretty much. But
You're stealing from us.
That's the punk rock side of me being like, do it. Steal from us.
Steal this book.
Steal this book. Steal our movie. Like, if you think that you and yours like can't afford it, there's ways to get to this. There's ways to, and also reach out. If you don't want to pay the $20 or more, you can pay more, Venmo us or whatever. We just need to pay back our investors. And I just, if everything we've said here doesn't light a fire under your ass, let that. Like, we have bills to pay.
And if anything we said burned your ass, comment.
Yeah,
Let us know about it.
Light up the algorithm.
I think we're all very accessible. Like we love to meet people that are listening and watching us. Like we want to know like who's out there. Don't be a creep.
Yes.
Don't be a voyeur.
Totally.
Like we're real human beings here.
We could
want
use
to hear from you too, man.
It's also like, I mean, our whole friend group has been just people that stumbled on our stuff.
Sometimes I think, what are we doing and why are we doing it? And then I think every person I love in my life has become part of my life because of this practice. So I can't stop, won't stop. We'll never give it up.
Cool. Well, peace, love, and magic, y'all. Thanks for joining us.